Today we bring you Joy of Life, Qing Yu Nian, a famous Chinese costume comedy drama released in 2019. Season 2 will be out in May 2024. Stay tuned. In the last video we talked about the disciplines of the Grand Master, Baiqi's holy maiden, Haidang Daodu allied with the young emperor of Northern Qi, War Dodo. Fan successfully rescued Yin Bianyun from the Jinyui. At the same time, they decided to team up with Xian's righteous son, Xianhu. To save Xian, he also made a promise. Once Xian is rescued, Qin will be a place to receive Tiger's followers. Both sides agreed, but they both have their own agenda. Upper Mountain Tiger can tell Xian is using himself to kill Xianzhong. After ensuring Xian's safety, they will kill Xian on the spot, then they'll head to the border to gather the army. As for Xian's real intention, naturally, he was trying to get the tiger to join him, so that they can join forces against Xianzhong, creating a situation where the two tigers are fighting. No matter which one loses in the end, it's always a win for him. Xian thought his plan was perfect. By Yin Bianyun's words, from the clouds into the dust. Before Wang Jingyang was ordered by him to retrieve the inner treasury's store account book in Shangjing. Yi Bianyun carefully examined and found the details of this book doesn't match the data sent to the supervisory yuan. Someone in the middle is secretly smuggling large sums of money and secretly sent it to Qing. Perhaps it was the handiwork of the princess, and this money has accumulated over time, enough to support a battalion of private soldiers. Xian was shocked and confused. The original intention of this plan is to join hands with the little emperor to take advantage of the mountain tiger's hatred for Xianzhong to bring him down. But now there's such an incident. Although he and Xianzhong had different positions, they haven't been in contact for a long time. But he could tell he's not a greedy person. Since Xianzhong agreed to help Li Yunrui smuggle, this will definitely cause chaos in Qing. What Yin Bianyun wants from Xian is try to find out what the money is really for. When Xian heard this, he was so angry. To extract a confession from an important official of Northern Qi, that's like asking for his own death. Ever since he entered Northern Qi's territory, he's been planning this move for a long time. What if Yin Bianyun's words are just a whisper? All his previous plans will be overturned and start all over again? When Xian calmed down, he had to admit Yin Bianyun's words may not sound good, but they do make sense. But no matter what, the plan to kill Xianzhong is ready to be executed. All that's left to do is to take action. There's no way he can change it now. He can only focus his attention. Focus on tomorrow's action. At the same time, Xian also told Wang Jingyang, before he returns to the post, to keep an eye on Yin Bianyun's every move. The next day, Xiangshan Tiger and his team searched for the address he gave before the meal. They arrived at the place where Xian was trapped. They followed the plan, but they never expected Xianzhong had gotten the news in advance. He'd already ambushed the neighborhood with his men. He was waiting for the tiger to come and get them. The only explanation is that Xian betrayed them. By the time Tiger reacted, Xianzhong's men had surrounded the entire courtyard. The situation was critical. After all, as a 9th grade master, it's not difficult for him to break out of the encirclement. When he arrived with his men, I saw Tan Wu carrying Xian on his back, and a group of dead things behind him. He was not surprised by the absence of the tiger. Anyway, from the beginning, he kept Xian to kill him, in order to lure Xianhu to rescue him and Tan Wu as his personal guard. Even though he repeatedly denied he has nothing to do with Xianhu, the divine evidence is enough to convict him in front of the Empress Dowager, to convict him of leading a foreign army to commit a crime, even if he and the guards want to die, so as not to implicate Tiger in the trial. But as long as the corpses of the corrupt and others are there, it's still a piece of hard evidence. So they poured kerosene on their bodies in advance. Their faces were destroyed by the fire. Naturally, there's no more evidence of them. Even though the heart is heavy as a god to see such a magnificent awakening, Xianzhong can't help but feel a sigh of relief. A soldier with such a strong dignity. It's a blessing for the nation. After extinguishing the fire, they carefully examined the corpses. One of them had the exact same body shape as Xian, and the position of his legs is accurate. It's gotta be him. That's right. The first thing he did when he got back to Upper Kingsfield was to go straight to the general's mansion. He told the mountain that Xian was buried in the fire. He couldn't help but be pleased with himself. Xianzhong knows that Xian is already in a difficult position. There's no place for him, but he was afraid of not being able to explain to the Empress Dowager. That's why he didn't kill Xian. Now, some thieves have robbed the prison. Xian is dead. That's exactly what he wants. Other than that, Xianzhong had already predicted the backstabbing of the tiger. So he sent Wolf Escape and Riverman to guard the situation. As long as Xian didn't die on the spot, the two ninth-grade masters will fight against him. He wouldn't have a chance to survive. After saying this, Shun Zhong turned around and left with a high hand. No matter who was killed in the fire, is the real Shan or not, his goal has been achieved, but unfortunately, this tiger is more patient than he expected. He still refused to make a move against him. Otherwise, based on the charge of murdering an important official, would be enough to condemn Tiger to death. On the other hand, the corpses of the soldiers were sent to the back of the mountain to be buried. But no one noticed there was a dead man inside. It turned out that under the cover of Tan Wu Xiao, Shan lay down in the pile of dead people silently. That's how he managed to hide it from the others. After he confirmed that he had avoided Shan Chang's eyes, he stumbled out of the back of the mountain. Fan Xian, who was right behind him, saw it. Shan wanted to take a detour back to the general's residence, but he didn't get far. He was stopped by 9th grade master He Daoren. After all, age is not forgiving. Not to mention he was in Shan Zhong's hands. His old wounds were compounded by new ones. How can he compete with a 9th grade He Daoren? For Fan Xian's sake, he didn't kill Shan directly. Instead, he made a mistake. He let him go. But not far away waiting for Shan is the other 9th grade master, Lang Tao. If it wasn't for the masked Fan Xian's timely arrival, Shan would have been killed on the spot. Plus He Daoren's secret help. He pretended to attack Fan Xian. In fact, he covered for them to fall off the cliff. That's how they escaped. Tao didn't see anything in it. He'd already severed his opponent's heart. Obviously, no one could have saved Shan's life. Fan Xian knows Shan will be dead for sure. He just stopped his bleeding. Shan looked relieved. Even though Fan Xian's original intention was to save him, he only wanted to continue his cooperation with the tiger. He didn't want his secret to be unrevealed forever. In fact, Fan Xian just couldn't understand on the way to Northern Qi. He tried to dig out the so-called secret from Sieb, but the other party suddenly chose to tell the truth. Perhaps Shan was touched by Fan's last words. He finally decided to tell the truth. In fact, they weren't just the same kind of people. Fan Xian still has the blood of the Xiao family in his veins. Looking at Chen Fan Xian, who was stuttering, continued. When Chen Pinliang attacked Northern Qi in the battle to protect Xiaoan, he paid the price of his legs to win the battle. And Shan's son and daughter-in-law were killed on the spot. Everyone thought that the Xiao family line was dead. But in fact, Shan's son, Chengjin Shallow, once met a woman in the land of Yanhua. When she became pregnant, she ransomed him. He hid her in his private house. When Shan found out about it, he ordered his son to break off contact with the woman. He mentioned that after he was caught in the dungeon of the supervisory Yu on the matter of the son of Mansei. After all, it didn't escape Qin Mingming's eyes. Over the years, civilian Qian has been using bits of news about the child to test Shan to lure him into revealing his deepest secret. Not only that, civilian Qin also threatened he will train the last bloodline of the Xiao family to become the North Pole. Qin Pinpin is still cautious. There was never any clear mention of where the boy was being fostered, but Shan knew the map of Qing quite well, based on the scattered clues given by the other party, by comparing and eliminating them one by one. That's how he was able to confirm that the kid was in Danzhou. Fair enough. His own grandson was raised in Danzhou, just like Fan Xian. That's obviously not enough. So on the way back to the North Qi, Xiaoan made a number of attempts, and when Qin Pingping saw Fan Xian in danger, Qin Pingping withdrew his black pieces at a time when Fan Xian was in danger. Fan Xian was left alone. He became more and more certain. If Fan Xian didn't know his mother well, who created the Innery treasure and made a name for herself in Qing, Shan's reasoning was reasonable enough to convince him. It was reasonable enough to convince her. That's why he stopped the tiger from killing Fan Xian. If not for the fact that Shan's face is now long gone, I'm afraid he wouldn't be able to tell the truth so easily. And what Shan is going to say next is the secret that Pingping wanted to find out for a long time, far beyond Fan Xian's imagination. This secret is related to the legendary temple. Shan was not well known in Northern Qi. Although he was the leader of the cavalry, he was a young and famous literary figure. Zhou Minghan, Shan's brother, wanted to make a name for himself. He heard that there is a godly temple located in the far north. He sent Shan and Ku He to lead a team of 1,000 men They marched to the north at that time. Ku He, although he was of royal blood, he had no interest in the battle for the throne. That's why he was included in the team that searched for the temple. The search for the temple was not as simple as they thought. It's not as simple as they thought. Hope led the procession northward, into the snowy north. The whole party was exhausted. Because of the snowy landscape, many were suffering from snow blindness. There was no vegetation and no prey. The men on the march either fled or died of disease. Gradually, half of the soldiers were lost. The horses that had replaced them on foot were eaten up. Those who remained, even the corpses of their companions, were used as food reserves. In the end, those who survived Xian and Qing Yu were the only ones left. The further north they went, the longer the night stayed, until the light of day was completely swallowed up. Only the night was cold and lonely. When Xian heard it, he realized the Shani Bitter River should be in the far north. After experiencing the extreme night, the dawn finally appeared in the sky. It was then that the temple appeared. In the memory of the demise, he and Bitter River did not enter the temple. Every time they reached out their hands towards the gate of the temple, that majestic building miraculously appeared not far away again. No matter how hard they tried, they could never touch the temple. Then the door to the temple finally opened. The figure of a woman in white gradually became clear in the light of the demons. It was as if a god had descended into the world. Xian has heard his name many times. It's his real mother, Qing Mei.